Good day everyone, my name is Alex and today I want to tell you an adventure and horror story with a movie called The Lair. There is a spoiler ahead, so watch out and enjoy the show. Two British soldiers on a plane are patrolling the deserted wastelands of Afghanistan. Suddenly, someone fires a rocket at their aircraft. They are trying to dodge it, but the rocket hits one of their wings. The plane becomes uncontrollable and starts to fall. The pilots decide to eject. They are noticed by militants who had previously shut down their plane. Sinclair is brought back to consciousness by the co-pilot, and they realize that they are surrounded. The guy makes a desperate attempt to shoot back, but the militants shoot faster. Sinclair does not plan to give up and neutralizes two of them. She runs out of bullets, and at the last moment, the wounded co-pilot helps her. Sinclair cannot save him and decides to get out of the wasteland alone. One of the militants manages to survive, and together with his gang, they begin to pursue her. The woman finds a locked bunker and comes under fire from militants. As a result of a shot from an RPG, the door to the bunker becomes open. Sinclair, who is pinned in a corner, decides to run there. She sees a staircase leading to the bottomless abyss. With no other options, she descends. Sinclair begins to explore the dark dungeon. She hears that the gunmen are following her and speeds up the movement. Sinclair enters the room with a terrible stench and finds one of the former bunker workers. She takes a mini camera from the table and continues to look for a way out. At some point, she hears the militants a step away from her and starts to run. They know she is close and turn on the power to the bunker. They see glass tanks with experimental people. Sinclair neutralizes one of the militants, after which a shootout ensues. During the shooting, one of the tanks breaks, and an unknown creature falls to the floor. The woman manages to hide in a tunnel under the floor. One of the militants remains next to the unknown creature. It starts moving and attacks the man. One of the attackers catches up with Sinclair, but gets distracted by one of the militants who saw the monster. The woman seizes the moment and fires a flare at him. Sinclair manages to deal with the remaining militants and goes back upstairs. Already at the top, she sees how the monster is cracking down on another surviving militant. The creature wounds Sinclair, but she manages to shoot back. The last gunman decides not to attack her and runs away. Despite being in great pain, she continues to move and meets the US military squad. They search the woman in disbelief and take away the mini camera found in the bunker. Sinclair and the militant who saw the monster are brought to a military base. There she says that she saw something terrible. The major of the base does not believe in stories about the monster and is convinced that the woman simply saw the brutalized militants. She asks to be sent to her unit, but due to the increased activity of the militants, the helicopter will not be able to get here. The major takes the mini camera for himself and sends Sinclair to the doctor. One of the surgeons, whose name is Hook, offers Major to check the strange bunker, but he refuses. Sinclair goes outside and sees the woman who took away her locket. A fight almost breaks out between women, but Hook separates them and stands up for Sinclair. He trusts her and tells that this base serves as a kind of sentence for delinquent military. The Major reports a strange incident to the command, at which time the doctor bandages Sinclair's wound. There, she meets a British soldier and Hook, who are trying to figure out where the bunker is. The captured militant keeps up the conversation and says that this dungeon belongs to Russians. When it's getting dark, unknown creatures are trying to escape from the half-closed bunker. Almost all the military at the base do not believe in stories about monsters from the dungeon. Suddenly, a soldier disappears. Then one of the military notices monsters in the distance. The military begin to shoot at unknown creatures, but the bullets do not harm them much, and they are also very dexterous. Now no one doubts the existence of monsters, which are hunting the defenders of the base. The Major is trying to contact the headquarters, and at that moment a creature attacks him. Meanwhile, Sinclair is attacked by another monster. The captured militant saves the woman at the last moment and together they join the military squad. The survivors take up defense, and two of them decide to help the major to fight with the monster. The military fall back and lock themselves inside the container. There they ask the militant if he knows something about the origin of the monsters. He talks about the attacks of unknown creature on his village, and also about the hunt for a monster, as a result of which many men died, including his father. At dawn, the military decided to get out of the container and look around. Monsters are nowhere to be seen, as well as the bodies of the killed defenders of the base. The survivors find the body of one of the slain monsters. The doctor examines the stinking corpse and explains that the monster has a strong skin that begins to melt from the sun's rays. They also learn that the monster has the same organs as humans. The major intervenes and explains that a moment before the attack, the headquarters shared information from intelligence with him. The Americans guessed that the Soviets were building a bunker in the mountains. Now the headquarters is sharing information and demands to save the mini camera found in the dungeon by Sinclair. The major reveals that the Soviets have found a way to integrate alien matter into human DNA. In 1979, an object of unearthly origin fell not so far from these places. At the crash site, the Soviets discovered an alien ship and decided to secretly begin to explore it. The military realizes that this is only the beginning and that more monsters will return as night falls. They cannot just leave because there are still militants around and they don't have enough fuel as a result of yesterday's explosion of gas tanks. Suddenly, the monster comes to life and attacks people. The major rushes at the monster with a grenade and sacrifices himself to save others. The military offers the captured militant to leave, but he decides to stay with them and fight against the monsters. Together they decide to use all the weapons they have left and attack the monster's lair. The military set up explosives at the stairs and are about to leave. But suddenly Hook is grabbed by a monster and pulled deep into the bunker. The squad is going to blow up the bunker, but at that moment the surviving soldier contacts them. He offers to use the explosives and leave, but Sinclair convinces the others to come down and help him. The squad leaves the medic in the car and goes down on the elevator attached to the car with a winch. The medic catches a message from the headquarters for an immediate evacuation in the area. He contacts those who went down, and together they come to the conclusion that the headquarters want to bomb the bunker. They have 20 minutes left and decide to speed up the search for Hook. Despite the wounds, he manages to deal with one of the monsters. Sinclair is unable to contact Hook and pulls one of the switches. People see a huge monster behind the glass. At this time, Hook tries to contact the squad and comes across a monster. He is lucky to meet with the rest of the squad and together they kill the creature. At this time, the medic is surrounded by militants. A shootout begins and then the close combat. The squad tries to escape the bunker, leaving one of the soldiers to keep the lab door locked. Another woman stays behind to stop the creatures. She manages to finish one off, but another monster pounces from behind. Hook is late to help her and enters into a fight with the monster. The soldier, unable to hold the door any longer, releases it and rushes at the monsters with the explosives. The medic tries to lift his comrades up, but as a result of the explosion, the elevator cabin is trapped by a fallen metal beam. He cannot turn off the winch as the militants draw him in front of the car. Meanwhile, monsters attack people trapped in the elevator. The medic struggles to keep the car from falling down the elevator shaft. However, his strength is not enough and the jeep falls on the elevator cabin. Only Sinclair manages to survive, as well as Hook. He survived by hiding from the explosion in the refrigerator. Together they go upstairs. The medic surrenders to the militants and smirks, knowing that there will soon be a missile attack on the area. They want to execute him, but at the last moment he is saved by surviving military. They hear the hum of an approaching bomber and try to escape. The plane drops a powerful bomb on a bunker, and covers the surviving soldiers with dust. Scouts search the abandoned base and find Major's corpse. However, they do not find a valuable mini-camera, which ends up being in Sinclair's pocket. The survivors are getting into the car and trying to leave the area. That's the end of this story. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and stay tuned for the next video.